JB, you couldn't see, I don't think, because you're not on camera, but when Andy was talking about transparency in government, I was over here applauding. And, I think one thing that we need big time in our government is that trust. I feel like you're bringing a level of trust with this open gov, and being able to have that transparency. I think that word gets overplayed a lot, but this is truly transparent government when you're looking at, and it's kind of nice having somebody that you talked about having your back, having our backs as taxpayers, making sure that somebody's looking over this and making sure before any of those checks are signed, that you're looking at that stuff and your team is. So thank you for that as well. JB, I wanted to ask you a little bit, Generation Next, 40 under 40 is all about, in my humble opinion, is all about our future leaders of West Virginia. Talk about, from your perspective, and quite frankly, you're under 40 as well. What's your perspective on the leadership potential and the future of West Virginia? What kind of hands are we in right now?
So I'm only under 40 for another couple months, which is a little scary, but I'm gonna ride this train as long as I can. But so I think that there's an inherent leadership quality in West Virginia, period. So we are a group of people who are so inherently self-reliant and so inherently kind, I think, to others. And I don't know that you can find two specific character traits that are more needed in a great leader than kindness and self-reliance, right? So you have to be able and willing to do it yourself, and you have to understand how your actions affect the people around you. And so for me, when you look through, history, think about all the incredible leaders that came from West Virginia. I mean, you're talking about football coaches, basketball coaches. We had Louis Johnson, who was the head of the War Department right after World War II. West Virginia has produced leaders forever. And I think we're finally getting to the point now where our leaders are going to look at our state and they're going to say, I want to lead here. I want this to be the place that I lead, because quite frankly, real leaders want a challenge. And making West Virginia an incredible place is going to be fun, but it's going to be really, really hard. And so we're all going to have to be pulling in the same direction. But I'm very, very bullish on what our young people are going to be able to accomplish in West Virginia over the next 25 years. If not, I wouldn't be here.
I love that. And what was interesting, and I'm going to paraphrase your comments from last Thursday night in Clarksburg, but I remember something to the effect of, it's easy for somebody from West Virginia, a young person, just like Tia Reppert, she could go to Charlotte or she can go to Nashville or Chicago and get a great job and have a nice place to live and be one of millions of people, right? But the hard thing to do as a leader, especially as a young leader, is to stay here in West Virginia and do it here. It's going to be much more rewarding. It's going to represent our values, but the easy thing is to leave. The hard thing is to stay. And I think that empathy that you were talking about and that resilience, if you will, those two character traits that you were talking about, I think that is extremely important. So did I kind of paraphrase you right, JB?
Sure. And I sometimes hesitate to say easy because it's still hard to move your family.
Sure.
It is easier, right?
Yes.
And the difference is that you can go and live in a place that's already pre-made, right? And they're pre-made in a very nice way.
Yeah.
Charlotte, all those places are great. But I don't live in Charlotte because I don't want to live in Charlotte. I want to live in Charleston or Morgantown or Bridgeport, but I want them to be the way that I need them to be.
Yeah.
And I think there's this whole group of people that are sitting there saying, I can make this place what I want it. It doesn't have to be inconvenient or expensive like these other places. It can be our version of those places. And that's what's really exciting is the opportunity to build it the way that you want it.